The National Center for Historical Memory in Colombia, it's in charge also of constructing the Human Rights and Historical Memory Archive of the country. So I was part of the team there, building this new archive, and I was particularly focused on working together with indigenous communities and other ethnic minorities in the country to collect information, to collect memories of the armed conflict and how these communities have been affected by it. So we could include these voices also in this archive. Okay, the Human Rights Archive is not only documenting violations of human rights, but also documenting and recovering information regarding the context of the whole armed conflict in Colombia, which has been taking place for the last 70 years, as well as information regarding perpetrators and the responses from the government to repair victims. So basically what this archive does is it helps the communities or the organizations to organize first the archive they have, and then we digitize it and put a copy of this information, a complete copy of the whole archive in digital form in this new archive. Well, it's a bit of a complicated mission as well, because it's a governmental institution. So that creates a lot of distrust on people. And somehow one of the principles is we don't want to, there is no one only truth, and it should not be a truth given by the government. So the point is trying to be as neutral as possible and to gather information from as many actors involved as possible and try to collect it. The government has been also has also responsibility on violations of human rights in the country. And what we see right now is there is also a lot of instability, political instability. And we are not sure how this will affect eventually the work that the archive has been doing and how, the information that has been collected. So for this reason, we only keep a digital copy of it. And we also keep these copies in some other places outside the country and outside the institution itself. But we make sure that the original documents remain with the person with the owner. So this information, there is the risk of destroying this data is actually less in this way. Yeah, well, it's difficult because there were many actors involved. Recovering all these voices implies also that you need to have a very good infrastructure, a lot of the budget also, because most of the violations that had happened in Colombia happened also in the countryside. And it's a countryside which is very hard to reach sometimes, that doesn't have infrastructure. So getting into these places, or for instance, running a digitization project in a place where there is no electricity or internet, etc., is very complicated as well to achieve. For them, it's actually a very distant concept. First of all, because they mainly transmit their memory via oral means. So talking about archives is a bit different of what they actually understand. A very interesting concept is for them the first victim of the armed conflict is the Mother Earth. So when we started having discussions with them, we realized that actually they see the Earth as an archive itself, because all the scars from the conflict are remaining in the territory. So we needed to find ways also how to document these scars, are all these marks that are. In those cases, we made use a lot of videos or testimonies or taking photographies, and mainly it needed logistics somehow. And it's in Spanish it's called like to recorrer el territorio. just to walk along the places where the facts happened, and then with people who lived this, for instance, to start recovering through testimonies the story of what happened in a certain moment, why this tree has this scar, why there is this mark on the land, etc. Yeah, it's basically through the narratives, also what they want to tell you about that. Maybe sometimes they don't want to go too much into detail about their own personal wounds, particularly if they are related to sexual violence, for instance. But yeah, otherwise also a methodology is to draw a map, and within this map making drawings of particular events on the history, and where there was a massacre, so they draw all this, but in the context of a place. It takes quite a long time. There are processes who can take 4 or 5 years, or they are never ending. But it requires building trust, and particularly, I think, the most important achievement of this work has been that they are the ones leading the process. In the end, we're the people who knows the tools, who maybe knows how to do the research, who know how to use a camera, or to know how to record a testimony, how to do an interview, and we support them technically, but mainly they are in charge of the process of deciding what they want to share, what they want to tell, how they want to say it, and who is going to talk about it. So they are the ones in charge. And that's also a very interesting experience, because I think in the end we have learned a lot about them. They have 500 years of history and of resistance as well. So they have a lot to teach us about how to build and how to protect and how to transmit historical memory. How to talk about events that might not be happy or very hard to say, but they have this concept, endulzar la palabra, which is like sweetening the word to make it softer. They need to, in order to talk about the conflict, they need first to process it internally and then look for a way to express it to the world where it doesn't hurt them and where it doesn't create a new conflict with the people. It's a lot about empathy as well. It's a lot about putting on the shoes of the one who was in the middle of the conflict, and putting on the shoes, understanding what they want to tell, how they want to tell it, in which moment, because there are moments also to keep silent. So it requires also, a lot of technical instruments and knowledge, but I think personal skills on how to be empathetic with the other one, and to listen, and to be patient also, and to give it time, in order to actually in the end see good results.